And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to this live stream. This time we are here for the qualifying session ahead of the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. I am once again JW97, and I'm once again joined by my arch nemesis Ra.
Yep. Hello. Back again.
This time we're here. We are here for the qualifying session. As you can see, no rain expected throughout the entirety of qualifying, so a bone dry session throughout the way, and we're about to get underway. So, Ra, I might as well ask you this, and it's the same with everybody in the stream chat. Who do you believe will be eliminated in the first part of qualifying?
You're gonna say both AlphaTauris, both Williams, an Aston, and a Haas.
Hey, I'm going to say both AlphaTauris, both Williamses, Haas, and an Aston Martin, I'm going to say. So that is my prediction there. I think it might have been the same as yours there, Ra. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, we'll read everybody else's out once we get some track action. A reminder, of course, the tyres we are using here at Silverstone is the white hard tyres. So it's been a few races since we've used the hard tyres, but we are now using them here at Silverstone, which has been, I've noticed for the last few seasons, quite common for this tyre to be used at Silverstone. And it seems the same is again here for this season's British Grand Prix. It's Felix Sonntag in the Williams, who was obviously who gave the keys to Adam Chobot during practice. He's back in the car, and he's going to be the first out on track in the Williams now. Then, and out on track he will go. And he gave quite an interesting response to the news about Williams switching to Lamborghini engines next season with the word I just literally said. Interesting. Wonder what he's thinking about that. That was his reaction to the whole news about Williams switching to Lambo engines next season. But anyway, let's have a look at what you guys have said in the stream chat then. Dennis has said both Williamses, both AlphaTauris, one Aston Martin and a Haas. Chris has said both AlphaTauris, both Williamses and both Aston Martins. And Von Chanek has said both Williamses, both AlphaTauris and both Haas's. So they are predictions, some relatively similar ones, but it seems with the final two slots, they're a little bit split on. So, kind of been a regular thing these last few seasons, I think it's fair to say. But anyway, Sonntag will be the first to start a lap as he's getting himself prepared for that now then, as he makes his way through into Beckett, and then he'll arrive down into Chapel. Now making his way down the hangar straight now then, before approaching up towards Stowe Corner, just checking on the minimap to see if everybody has gone out onto the track, and the answer to that is yes. I believe all 22 cars have now just gone out onto the track, so Sonntag should not have any worries at all about being held up whatsoever. As now Sonntag now then is about to start his first flying lap of qualifying, and he's going to start his lap as he comes down the Hamilton straight right now then. So heading towards the first two corners, which is Abbey now then. It's a flat out corner, flat through turn 1 and then flat through turn 2, and now heading his way into turn 3, which is Farm Corner now then, as he uses a lot of curb on the inside there before making his way into turn number 4, which I believe is called Village, and then heading in towards the Aintree, I believe that is, before heading his way down towards the Brooklands, heading down towards Brooklands. He's obviously passed the Wellington Straight now through into Brooklands there. He does a 25.561 in the first sector there, a 25.609 for Lopez, 25.403 for Carr, as Sonntag makes his way out of left field, now through into Woodcote now then, down the old pit straight of course. Obviously still gets used for GTCC and used to be for MotoGP, but of course from next season they are going back to the wing. He's just past Cops there as Sonntag, now making his way through into Maggots, now through into Beckett's now then. A little bit of a lift through the first part, and then down one gear through into there, now through into Chapel. His second sector, he does a 1 minute 1.513 in the second sector before making his way, blasting down the hangar straight now then, up towards Stowe Corner now then, where we've seen a few crashes in the past in various series at that corner, making his way now then down towards Vale, and then the final two corners of Club now then. Through Vale, now into the final two turns, through Club 1, then into Club 2 he goes, and now making his way back down the pit straight, which is called the Hamilton Straight. Across the line goes Felix Sonntag, and he does a 127.331. Here comes Franco Lopez in the Mercedes, and he goes actually second, in fact. His car slots onto the top of the timesheet by 0.6 of a second. Not the best of the first laps there for Lopez as Gal slots into 4th. Galloway goes into 2nd. Here comes Jamie Griffiths in the Williams. Across the line he will go. He goes into 5th as Chung goes to the top, thanks to some slipstream by a 10th. Here comes Jesus Perinen in the Renault. Across the line he will go now then, and he goes fastest by 0.3 of a second. Anderson slots into 9th. Byrne across the line goes into 2nd, just under 2 tenths behind teammate Perinen. Here comes Joseph Willows, one of the home favourites in the McLaren, across the line, goes into 4th. Videri slots into 11th. Daniel Fraser in the Haas across the line, he will go now then, and he goes into 10th. Here comes Kirishima DeRosa back in the car after Nguyen took his place during practice. But DeRosa now then coming down the pit straight and across the line, he will go now then, and he goes into 5th. Rahul Patel, who's back in the car after giving it to Bush Daniel during practice. Across the line goes into 8th position. Chris Chatfield across the line in the Ferrari. He goes fastest by 0.15 of a second, so trying to replicate the pace that he showed during practice. Here comes Amelia Wilson now then, who rounds the final turn, and onto the pit straight she will go now then. Across the line she will go in the Haas, and she goes into 10th position, slots behind Patel. Here comes Roke in the Red Bull, and he goes 3rd, just only 0.03 off of Chatfield. The top 3 only separated by 0.03 of a second. Here comes Roland Motrin in the Aston Martin. Across the line he will go now then, and he goes into 14th as Gamba, only 12th there, getting held up by the traffic. Quag goes into 20th, not a brilliant first lap, and 5 seconds off for Q-Pot. That's got to be either a mistake or a hold up, and it looks like it's a mistake, Ra.
Yeah, a mistake for David Q-Pot. It was way wide and very close to Gamba, to Franco Gamba there.
Yeah, so Garman nearly getting collected there during qualifying. His qualifying session could have been done right there, and he would have started right at the back of the field, and he wouldn't have been happy with Qpok at all for that one. But yeah, that was very close for Garman, but luckily they just avoided each other there, because that could have been quite nasty there indeed. But at the moment, it is Chatfield at the top by 0.15 of a second, but the top 3 only separated by 0.03 at the moment, Ra.
Yeah, indeed, of course, it's only Q1, it is close at the moment, but of course, it's still a long way to go. I mean, it's not really Q3, but of course, we'll be waiting for that soon.
Yep, so far then in the drop zone, we have Daniel Fraser in the Haas, Miklos Gal in the Alfa Tauri, Andre Videri in the Alfa Romeo, Roman Quag in the Alfa Romeo. So both Alfa Romeos currently in the drop zone at the moment. Julius Anderson in the Aston Martin, and David Q-Pok, who of course made that mistake, down in 22nd and last in the Alfa Tauri. So 2 Alfa Tauris, 2 Alfa Romeos, 1 Haas and an Aston Martin so far, as Sontag was getting wheeled back into the garage, as both Williams is currently in the top 16 threshold. Whether they can keep hold of that, though, is going to be another question. But quite a decent first lap for Sontag there, but quite a poor lap for Lopez, it's fair to say, being slower than Sontag on the first lap.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Lopez was that slow, even behind Sontag. But yeah, Sontag a lap for him. But I mean, I am surprised about Lopez. Don't know if he made a mistake or was it just a bad lap. Looked like it seems it was a bad lap for him.
Indeed so, as Chung now then gets wheeled back into the garage now then, as she'll be waiting to start her next flying lap. Same goes for her teammate Rahul Patel. Now, of course, usually one driver gets left behind on the second runs when it's all 22 cars available on track. So we'll have to wait and see who that culprit will be on the second flying laps. Whatever the case, none of the bottom 6 will be hoping it's them at the very least, in case they can't get back out again. Which I should imagine they'll be able to, but you never know. Anything could really happen, really, as we wait for the next set of cars to go out onto the racetrack now then, as the seconds tick down on the clock, as we ride currently on board with Felix Sontag in the Williams, and waiting to see who's going to go out first. I'm pretty sure he's not the bottom garage, though, from memory, because I'm pretty sure that's Lamborghini, but there we are. As we wait to see who's going to be the first car on track for the second runs, and it's going to be a Mercedes this time. It is going to be Amar Khan, the current championship leader in P number 8, and well, Carr will be hoping he can do well in front of his home fans. Of course, he won here last season after a close fight with teammate Lopez, and looking to put on a strong performance in front of his home crowd here, especially given that he's currently, of course, leading the Drivers' Championship. And I think it's safe to say, given all the comments that Carr made throughout the course of the season about the Mercedes, it's gone better than he was expecting so far.
Yeah, and it looks like he could be on his way to win the championship, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he does have a good chance, but There's still a long way to go. He's got to keep it up.
Indeed. I mean, he's only 7 points ahead, Ra. I don't think he's on his way to the championship just yet, because anything could happen. I think that was a little bit of a twist of words there. But anyway, as he now makes his way towards Maggots and Beckett's now, then with just over 10 minutes to go. Just keep an eye on the left-hand side to see who's going to be emerging out on track and who's going to be the one that's going to get left behind during these runs, because that usually seems to be a thing with Grand Prix 4. We can't seem to find a fix for that at the moment. But anyway, Carr now then making his way towards Stoke Corner, as he'll be hoping there'll be no traffic by the time he gets back onto the Hamilton Straight. Chatfield back out on the track, so Garber, Motrin and Kupok still in the garage at the moment, as they make their way through the final 2 turns on at the racetrack now. Then Carr is about to start his next flying lap now then, as he makes his way towards turn number 1. There is a car on the exit the pit lane there, so is Carr going to get held up? And the answer to that is yes. And coincidentally, or ironically, whichever way you want to say it, it's his nearest rival, Franco Gamba, that has come out right in front of him. So not sure if this is going to affect Carr too much, because it didn't look like he had to lift through into turn 3 there. But let's see what it's like in the first sector. Carr heading towards the first sector, and he's 4 tenths down in the first sector. So it may have affected him just a little bit, but not really ideal for Carr.
Yep, indeed. I mean, not ideal, and of course, only in 8th. I mean, he knows that there'll be lots of drivers improving. You just hope he just stays pretty much where he is, or just stays in the safe zone.
Indeed so, as Carr now then makes his way through into Maggots, and then into Beckett's he will go. And we'll see what his second sector is going to be like, and see how much time he's losing in that middle sector through Chapel. And the middle sector, he is, well, 6 tenths off in the middle sector compared to his personal best, and nearly a second off of Chatfield in the middle sector, mainly because of Gamba in front, as Gamba will be looking to improve on that 12th position. It's Roland Motrin, by the way, who's the car that's been left behind on this occasion. Kupok thinking he's done enough to regroup himself and basically try and get a proper lap in after his mistake earlier on. But Carr now then coming up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight will go the championship leader. Carr across the line, no improvement as expected, and stays in 8th position. Here comes Joseph Willows around the final turn. Across the line he will go now then, no improvement, stays where he is. Same for Miklos Gal, as Kupok's about to start his lap. Quite soon, like Gal and Willows were holding each other up there, it seems, on that lap. Here comes Evan Byrne. He's not on an improvement at the moment. Byrne currently in 4th position across the line, and he stays in 4th for the time being. Lopez is on improvement. Of course, it wasn't the best of first laps for Lopez, but across the line he will go, and only good enough for 12th on that occasion, only to get in front of Gamba. Sontag on an improvement and goes up to 9th. That's a big improvement there for Felix Sontag in the Williams. Here comes Daniel Fraser. No improvement. He stays where he is. Galloway is on an improvement, and he goes into 6th position, slots in front of Willows. Verderi crosses the line, no improvement. It looks like he may have made a mistake, in fact, because he was way off. Griffiths, no improvement. Perina, no improvement. It looks like Verderi has made a mistake somewhere. Let's see where he could have potentially have made the mistake. And it was at turn 3. He looked like he went a bit too quick there, Ra.
Yeah, me going too hot, and it cost him a lot of time. Maybe he could have improved, but yeah, it's cost him there, and he's in 19th at the moment. It's not where he wants to be, and it's not good news for him.
No, definitely not. Griffiths, of course, didn't improve. Perin didn't improve. Quire, meanwhile, goes all the way up into 6th, so he gets out of the drop zone. That pushes Griffiths into the drop zone now. Anderson, only 20 that time by. De Rosa goes up into 4th. Roke across the line. No improvement. Only just, though. 4 thousandths off his personal best. Here comes Amelia Wilson. No improvement for her. She stays with us. Same for Chung, but Patel goes up into 2nd. 6 thousandths off of Chatfield. Speaking of which, he doesn't improve. He stays where he is. Garman, meanwhile, is up on his personal best for the moment, but doesn't appear to be up on Chatfield at the moment. But as long as he gets a big enough improvement, he should be okay, as he's currently down in 15th position, as he now makes his way through into the final few turns, with Lopez in 14th at the moment. Here comes Gamba around the final corner, and onto the pit straight will go Franco Gamba across the line, and he goes only up into 11th that time, by only just slotting in front of Armar Carr. Kupok, meanwhile, as expected, up on his personal best after the mistake he made earlier on in the session. So let's see where he can place the AlphaTauri now then, and he goes a little bit wide through into the first part of club there. A little bit of an interesting line, but anyway, Kupok across the line he will go. Looks like it may have been a mistake, in fact, from Kupok, and goes into last. So I wonder if that was a bit of understeer there kicking in for David Kupok, because he missed the apex through the first part of club there. But either way, Chatfield still at the top, and now the top 5, look at that, Raw, only separated by 75 thousandths of a second.
Yep, it really is getting close, and yeah, it could be a 10th Q2 and Q3 later on, but of course, so we still have Q1 to finish and of course Q2. But looking at pretty much between 16th to 22nd, it's pretty much separated by 3 tenths. It is close, but of course, anything can happen.
With 5 minutes to go, as the Alphas decide to take a bit of a T-tour of the garages there, Grand Prix 4 being Grand Prix 4 there. But currently in the drop zone then, as you can see, we have Griffiths, Fraser, Gal, Anderson, Videri and Kupok. So that's how it currently looks at the moment. As we wait to see what looks like the next ones, I think, judging from how much time we've got left on the clock, I think these next ones could be the final runs of Q1. We'll have to wait and see. I think Lopez will need to hope he gets an improvement because he's only in 15th position. Motrin is expected to go out again, of course, because obviously he sat out during those second runs, so you should expect Motrin to go back out. Kupok still needing to come into the pits, and he's just coming up to it now, according to the mini-map there, and now he's in the pit, so all 22 cars now in the pit lane. As we've got just under 5 minutes to go in the session. Speaking of AlphaTauris, Miklos Gal is going out onto the racetrack first for the what could be the final runs of Q1, as he's currently down in 19th. Both AlphaTauris currently in the drop zone and looking to see if he can try and get into that top 16 threshold, as Gal now then makes his way out onto the racetrack before approaching turn number 3 now. Then through the right hand he goes, and then into turns 4 and 5 he will soon be approaching. Through the left hander he goes, and now approaching turn 5 now then will go Miklos Gal, as he now comes down the Wellington Straight before approaching Brooklands now then. As also joining him on track is Lopez. He's ensuring he gets some clear air. Sontag also going out on the racetrack as well. So 3 cars currently out on track at this point in time. I'm making his way through Luffield now then, as none of the bottom 6 will be hoping they can go out. Motrin, as expected, is now out onto the racetrack. So he's now come out onto the track, as has Joseph Wellers in the McLaren, as has Kirishima DeRosa. So McLaren not wasting any time, sending both of their drivers out on track now then, as more cars start to make their way out on track. Wilson's out on track now then, as so is Fraser. He's just come out onto the racetrack, as has Amar Carr. He's just come out on track as well. Laura Chung's just arrived on track. Gal will be hoping he doesn't get held up by the time he gets towards the first corner now then. So he just comes around Stowe corner there before making his way down towards Vale, and then into the final 2 corners of Club through the left. Then through the final 2 turns will go Miklos Gal now then. Through the final turn onto the pit straight he will go, as he will start his final lap of Q1. I believe this will be his final flying lap, as he now makes his way towards the first corner. Both Red Bulls have not come out on track yet, nor has Anderson and nor has Kupok. Gal will get clear air, so no sign of any traffic whatsoever for the 2009 World Champion. Rogue is on track. Garber and Kupok are still in the garage, so one of them is going to have to be left behind. Kupok is hoping it's not going to be him, because he's currently in the drop zone, as his teammate Gal makes his way towards the end of the first sector, and Garber has gone out. So I think it's safe to say, Ra, Kupok is out of it. It's been quite a disastrous session for him.
Yep, unfortunately for him, maybe that second run he could have improved by a lot more, but he made an error, went a little bit wide around the front of a few corners, and pretty much cost him a little bit more time. Maybe could have been around like where his teammate is, could have been around like 18th.
Indeed so. Well, at least we know now that he is the first to be eliminated in Q1. He's going to stay in last position. It's just the remaining 5 places in Q1 that are yet to be decided. A second off in the middle sector compared to Chatfield for Gal, and I think that says 2 tenths down on his personal best in the middle sector. So Gal now then not looking like he's on improvement, and he looks like he's going to be out of qualifying unless he can find a miracle in the last sector now then, as Gal makes his way through into Vale and now into the final 2 corners of Club. Now into the final corner comes Miklos Gal, and onto the pit straight he will go, and across the line will go the 2009 World Champion. Across the line, and no improvement, he stays in 19th. It's just behind Anderson. Starts a lap. Lopez, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. He kind of needs to, really, because he's in 15th position. He's 1/10 up on his personal best in the middle sector, but I think it's only going to get him up to 14th if he doesn't find anything in this last sector. Lopez across the line, and yeah, it's only good enough for 14th, so he's got to hope he's done enough to stay in Q number 2 now then. Sontag across the line, doesn't improve and stays in 13th. Motrin, meanwhile, is up on his personal best, but 7 tenths down on Chatfield in the second sector there. Motrin losing a bit of time actually in that second sector, and as a result, he doesn't improve and stays in 16th. So we'll have to hope he's done enough. So Motrin, no improvement there, loses more time in that last sector. Fraser across the line and goes up to 16th. So Motrin is out. Motrin has been eliminated as a result. So he's been eliminated. Here comes Amelia Wilson across the line. She doesn't improve and stays in 15th for the moment. Could we be seeing both Hasses through into Q2? Let's see. As Carr now then makes his way down the pit straight, currently in 12th, and he stays in 12th. No improvement for the championship leader at this point in time, as it looks like there may have been a mistake actually from Carr, because he was only 200ths off of Chatfield in the first sector. Let's see, was there any mistake through into these? In fact, yes, there, look, as he nearly spun going through Lovefield there.
Yep, indeed, and that's an amazing drift from Marmaka just to save it. But of course, it lost him time, and of course, he was up on his personal best. He could have been improving, but no, he wasn't.
The Yeah, that could have been a very interesting screenshot to have on somebody's screensaver there. Yeah, but yeah, a very good save there from Carr nonetheless. Anyway, as here comes Rahul Patel. Chung didn't improve earlier, and nor does he. Here comes Evan Byrne in the Renault. Across the line he will go, and he stays in 6th. Here comes his teammate, Jesus Perinin. Rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight. He will go now then, and Perinin crosses the line and does not improve. He stays where he is. Galloway was improving, but loses time as Chatfield further improves on his fastest time, and now to the 126.105 as the Derry goes up to 15. So Fraser is out of it, I think, because I think he's already completed his lap. So Fraser is out. No improvement for Quark. I believe he's out, as Griffiths only up to 17th, just missed out there. Here comes Julius Anderson in the Aston Martin now then, as he makes his way through into the final turn. In fact, Quarg is not out. In fact, what am I talking about? He's up in 8th. I do apologise there. Anderson finds time in the last sector, but it's not enough, and he stays in 20th. So both the Alpha Tauris are on the back row of the grid. As a result, here comes Franco Gamba in the Red Bull. He's on an improvement across the line. He will go. Can he get to the top? In fact, and yes, he can by 10th. He breaks into the 1 minute 25s. A 125.944, and that's Q1 done with. And, well, both Alpha Tauris on the back row of the grid, Ra.
Yeah, indeed, not ideal for them, considering the fact that it's pretty close at the time. But unfortunately, it's not the best. It's a session to forget for them.
Indeed so, and also as well, just in front, the Aston Martins are locking out the penultimate row. But anyway, your top 3, Garber, Chatfield and Patel, and your bottom 6, as a reminder, are Jamie Griffiths, Daniel Fraser, Roland Motrin, Julius Anderson, Mikkel Oskau and David Cupark. So I'll just be silent for a moment, as I just need to put the tweet up, and then we'll try and talk about some things before we get into Q2, as Yuri has to prepare for Q2. So so do apologise if I go a little bit silent for the moment, guys. And there you go. I've put the tweet up there, so that's that. But anyway, obviously we're just waiting for Q2 to get underway. But yeah, bit of a so far it seems from row 10 and row 11, bit processional, you'd have to say, Ra.
Yeah, indeed, both Aston Martins in the 10th row and the Alpha Tauris in the 11th row. At least the Aston Martins are not in the background of the grid, so that's a good sign for them.
Indeed so, and apparently Yuri's just told us that Flo's actually got a Flo's got a screenshot of Armar's Tokyo drift. So yeah, I bet somebody's going to use that as a screen saver. That's for sure, because that was a pretty good shot. But anyway, obviously, Mercedes, whilst we're on the topic of them, looked a little bit off in that session. We were expecting them to be obviously we were expecting Carr to be a lot quicker on his final flying lap before he made that mistake. But yeah, just seemed a little bit off for them at the moment, Ra.
Yep, indeed. I mean, of course, not only well for him, not ideal, but of course, there is a lot of pace in that Mercedes, so do you expect him and Lopez to pick it up going into Q2?
Indeed. Well, obviously, guys, whilst we wait, let us know your predictions on who you believe will be eliminated in Q2 for the meantime. And so it will give us something to read when Q2 gets underway. We'll be interested to see, of course, who advances. But yeah, I think it's safe to say as well, pretty good sessions for Wilson and Sontag again to get through into Q2.
Yeah, more impressive for Sontag, of course, great lap for him, and also Wilson doing well to get into Q2. She pretty much needs that, and of course, after she just got her first points of the season, she would want to keep that up, try and get more points in Silverstone.
Indeed so, and the same goes for Sontag as well, as you alluded to there a little bit earlier on. But yeah, for a moment it did look a little bit shaky for Franco Gamba, but he was able to save something right at the end there, and Chris Chatfield looking again quite strong from what we saw in practice as well.
Yep, indeed, but of course, it is Q1. We'll see what happens in Q2. It could all change.
As we're now getting ready for Q2 now, because we've got the stream back up for us on Discord, and we are getting ready to go then. So without further ado, let's get into Q number 2. So Ra, your predictions. Who do you believe will be eliminated in the second part of qualifying?
I'm going to say Sontag, Wilson. Going to say a McLaren. I'm going to say a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and I'm going to go bold and say Red Bull.
Okay, I'm going to go with Wilson, Sontag, both Alfa Romeos. I'm going to go bold and say a Mercedes, and I'm going to say who else? I'm going to say a Lamborghini. I'm going to say that. They are my predictions as we wait for the first car to come out, and on that occasion it will be Chris Chatfield, the man who topped practice and lay second in Q1, as he's looking to have another good performance here in Q2 as the Ferrari driver gets off the pit limiter and he's now out onto the racetrack now then, rejoining out of the second part of Abu Dhabi. So let's have a look at what you guys predicted in the stream chat then. So so Fonchanik has said Wilson, Sontag, both Alphas, a Renault and a Lambo. Evan has said both Renaults out, I think in a jokey way. Dennis has said Sontag, Wilson, Videri, a McLaren, a Mercedes and a Renault. And Jafari has said a Lambo, a Haas, both Alfa Romeos and a Mercedes. I think you need to add one more there, Jafari, because there's actually meant to be six that's meant to... there's meant to be six that's meant to be eliminated, not five. So, a Ferrari, there you go, he's actually said it there. So that's that really, as they now make their way through the section of corners. As now they make their way through into the second part of Beckett's, as just one more car now then left to go out onto the racetrack. Just waiting for who that is. It still says 15 now, all 16 have come out, so Chris Chatfield will not have to worry about any traffic whatsoever on this instance. And so now making his way down towards the left and then into the final 2 turns of Club now then. Into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will go Chris Chatfield, as he's now going to start his first flying lap of Q2 now then, as he'll now go flat out for the first 2 turns of Abbey now then, keeping the foot pinned to the floor, now through into Farm now then, through the right hander, and now into turns 4 and 5 we go now then, as you'll soon be approaching the end of the first sector quite soon now then, through turn 5 and now heading towards the end of the first sector here at Silverstone. Let's see what his first sector time looks like. It is a 25.458 in the first sector as he makes his way through into Brooklands now there. A 25.877 for Sontag in the first sector. A 25.534 for Chung. A 25.287 for Willows in the first sector. So he set a faster first sector than Chatfield on that occasion. A 25.404 for Perenin, so only just quicker than Chatfield in the first sector there is Perenin, as now Chatfield making his way towards Maggots and Beckett's now, then through the left, then through the right, then through the left again, and then in through the right as well, and now going into Chapel now then. Let's see what his middle sector is like, and it's a 1 minute 1.238 in the second sector now then, as he now makes his way towards Stowe. A 102.013 there for Sontag in the middle sector, a 101.401 for Chung, a 100.851 for Willows in that second sector. So quite a strong second sector there for Joseph Willows. But here comes Chatfield now then, who rounds the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Into the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Chris Chatfield in the Ferrari. Across the line he will go, and he does a 126.777. Here comes Felix Sontag in the Williams. Across the line he will go, and he goes into second, 1.1 seconds off. Second place for Chung, 2/10 off of Chatfield. Here comes Willows, who was looking strong in the first 2 sectors, and he goes quickest by 0.4 of a second at 126.311. Of course, we saw Garma break into the 1 minute 25s in Q1 as Perenin goes 4/10 slower in second. Here comes De Rosa now then, who's down on Willows in the first 2 sectors, as he now rounds the final turn, and across the line will go De Rosa, and he goes into second, so a McLaren 1-2 for the meantime, 3/10 off his teammate. Quark across the line goes into 6th, 1.1 seconds off of Willows. Roke across the line, he will go in the Red Bull. Where does he place himself? He goes into second, splitting the 2 McLarens. Here comes Jake Galloway in the second of the 2 Ferraris. Galloway across the line, he will go, and he goes into 4th. Byrne goes only 10th there, so it looks like he's made a mistake on his lap somewhere, or it had something to do with Chatfield, and no, it was a similar error to what we saw with Q-Pock earlier.
Yep, indeed, goes wide and went on the gravel as well. And of course, Galloway just goes straight through.
It looked like he had to lift off a little bit there, so maybe some more time to find there for Galloway. As Wilson slots into 7th. Here comes Rahul Patel in the Lamborghini as he makes his way down the straight. Lopez goes into 5th meanwhile in the Mercedes. Patel goes into 9th. Gamba across the line, and he goes second, 19 thousandths of a Willows. Carr across the line, he goes into 9th. Here comes Andre Videri in the second of the 2 Alfa Romeos as he now makes his way through into the final turn and onto the pit straight. He will go. Videri across the line, he will go, and he goes into 11th there, gets in front of Patel. But at the moment, Willow's currently top by 19 thousandths of a second there. So Willow's wowing the British fans at the moment, it seems.
Yep, a great lap for Willows in 126.3. Of course, I mean, Franco Gamba did a 125.9 in Q1. Of course, there's still a lot of time to find.
Wilson currently in the top 10, but as we saw earlier, we saw Byrne make a mistake, so you would imagine that he will be challenging way up in the top 10 as well once he gets a clean lap in. But currently in the drop zone then, we have Videri, Patel, Chung, Quag, Sontag and Byrne, of course. So 2 Alfa Romeos, 2 Lamborghinis, a Williams and a Renault so far, as Sontag peels back into the garage, as does Chung, and I think there was a Haas behind, but it looked like he got a little bit... I think she got a little bit held up there by Sontag, that being Wilson, of course, because she is the only remaining Haas in qualifying, because her teammate Fraser got eliminated in Q1. Chung gets wheeled back into the garage now then in the Lamborghini, and she'll be ready to see if she can get out for a second lap, of course. And both Lamborghinis will need to, really, because both Patel and Chung currently in the drop zone as we speak at the moment, as the mechanics getting her prepared for that second flying lap in Q2. Same with everybody else at this point in time, And unlike, of course, in Q1, no car gets left behind because, of course, we do have player cars enabled to ensure that the 6 cars that got eliminated in Q1 don't come out again, of course. As Wilson will get wheeled back into the garage for the Haas. I think she had to wait a little bit for the 2 Williamses to get service, but eventually she is now getting wheeled back into the garage. And same will go for Patel, as he'll get wheeled back into the garage quite soon now then. We're just over 8 3/4 minutes go in the session now then, as we wait to see who's going to get out first for the second runs, as the Lamborghini mechanics will Patel back into the garage now then. So we've got a Williams going out on track now then. That will obviously be for Sontag because Griffiths got eliminated in Q1, so Sontag going out on track first, just as he did in Q1 earlier on. So out on track goes Sontag, as he will now make his way out of the pit exit now. Then currently in 15th, and looking to see if he can build on that so far. Just under 5 tenths behind Roman Quag at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see if he's able to close up that gap just a little bit now then, as he now makes his way down Wellington Straight now then. And once again out qualifying Jamie Griffiths in qualifying. And seems to be, as we've talked about in practice a little bit earlier on, just seems to have the pace over Griffiths so far in these last few races. It just seems that he's got a little bit of an edge over his Welsh teammate at the moment. Chatfield has come out on track, as has Laura Chung and as has Evan Byrne. He'll be hoping to have a cleaner lap this time after making a mistake earlier on. As Sontag now then making his way through into Maggots now then, and now approaching Beckett's he will go, flicking the car in through the left and then through the right before making his way through into Chapel now then. And now coming down the Hanger Straight he'll go. There's still a few cars in the pit lane at the moment, so Sontag, as I say, with pretty much everybody, will be hoping there's no traffic by the time he gets back around. Through the long swooping right-hander he goes, as he makes his way down towards Vale and Club now then. Taking it in for the left and then through the final 2 turns he will go. And now approaching the final corner and onto the pit straight then will go Felix Sontag in the Williams. There's still 4 cars in the garage at the moment. Sontag, will there be any traffic by the time he approaches turn 2? Let's see, around turn 2 he goes. And there is a car there, but I think it is too far away for Sontag. So I think he'll get away with that. And in fact, he's currently in a little bit of a Red Bull sandwich. But luckily, both Roke and Garmer are too far away to interfere with his lap there. So Sontag now then coming up towards end of the first sector. We did a 25.87 in the first sector, and he's 2 tenths up on his personal best in the first sector. So as long as he keeps it tidy, he could be looking at quite a big improvement here in the Williams. Of course, we now know that this will be their final season with Mercedes Power, of course, so want to send the 8-season relationship they've had with Mercedes on a high for these remaining 12 races they've got with the power plant, as they now make their way towards Maggots and Beckett's now. They're flicking it in through the left, then through the right, and then into Beckett's. He will go flicking it in through the section of corners. Let's see what his middle sector is like compared to his personal best through the middle sector. And he is 1 tenth up in the second sector. So he's still up on his personal best, but it does look like he's lost maybe a bit of time in that middle sector. So maybe he did have quite a strong middle sector earlier on. But let's see what his final sector is going to be like. I don't think he's going to gain any places, judging from how much he's been improved, judging by how much he's been improving so far on this lap. But let's see. Sontag across the line he will go, and he improves, remains in 15th, 0.111 seconds quicker than his personal best. Chung, meanwhile, up on her personal best. She needs to improve, obviously, because she's currently in the drop zone as she now makes her way through into Vale and now into the final 2 corners of Club. And let's see what the Austrian Grand Prix winner can do now then. Chung around the final turn and onto the pit straight. Can she get herself into the top 10? And the answer to that is yes. She goes up into 9th, pushes Wilson into the drop zone. Chatfield, no improvement. Car about to start a lap. Here comes Byrne, who needs to improve, as we've got a yellow flag. And it's Garbo. He's spun off as Byrne goes up into 5th and pushes Car into the drop zone as a result. So Garbo was actually up on his personal best, but it looks like he may have pushed a bit too hard here,
Yep, looked up and just goes wide and then loses control of the car. And yeah, he was only up by only 9 thousandths, not much, but that mistake really cost him.
Lopez, meanwhile, not up on his personal best, and he doesn't improve. He stays in 7th. Here comes Perinin, also not up on his personal best, and he's going to remain in 8th position for the moment. Here comes Amelia Wilson, another driver who's also not improving at the moment, and she's only just been pushed to the drop zone. She's currently in 12th position. Wilson across the line, she will go and does not improve, stays in 12th. De Rosa, no improvement, stays where he is, which is P4. Galloway doesn't improve. Willows across the line, stays on a 126.311. Videri goes up to 3rd. That's a big improvement for Andre Videri. What about his teammate Roman Quarg? Across the line he will go, and he goes only 15th on that occasion. Does improve, but only by 1 position, really. So Videri with a massive improvement there in the last sector and pushes Chung back down into the drop zone. Roke, meanwhile, is on the improvement. He's currently in 4th position as Roke is going to cross the line and loses time in the last sector and does not improve. And Garma crossing the line after his lap got ruined thanks to that mistake he made through into Brooklands, which saw him spin. Patel, meanwhile, up on his personal best, could push Chatfield into the drop zone if he's able to keep this up, although he's taking a bit of a weird line through into Club there. That might cost him a bit of time. I think there may have been a bit of a twitch from the rear end, and as a result only improves up into 12th. So Patel still in the drop zone as Carr, who's also in the drop zone, does not improve and stays in 13th position. Looked like quite a poor lap there for Carr, it's fair to say, and we'll be hoping he's got enough time to go back out on the track, but I think it's going to be a bit tight for him at the moment, the championship leader in the wars at the moment.
Yeah, indeed, and that's not what he really wants, considering that Franco Gamba is all the way up in 2nd, and he's looking like he's going to be in Q3, while Carr isn't.
Indeed, as we wait to see what Laura, as we wait to see who else is going to go out for a final flying lap. Carr, I think it's going to be a bit tight for him to get back out on the track. He really needs to be quick if he wants to give himself a chance to get through into the final part of qualifying, as Wilson currently down in 14th position. Most of the cars are back in the pit, so we will see some final laps. It's just who's going to get final laps on the board as Wilson gets wheeled back into the garage now then. And we wait to see who's going to be next to go out onto the racetrack. Both Lamborghinis currently in the drop zone for Patel and Carr. They need to hurry up if they want to get themselves through into the next part of qualifying, as the seconds tick down for this session now then, as we wait to see who is going to get eliminated in the second part of qualifying. At the moment, Chung, Patel, Carr, Wilson, Quarg and Sontag are currently in the drop zone as we speak, as we wait to see who'll be going out, as Patel has now come back into the pits, but I think it's going to be a bit of a hurry for him to get back out on track, and the same will go for Amar Carr as well, but we will see as we wait to see who's going out. Just under 2 minutes left on the clock. I think only a few are going to be able to do it, and one of those people being Felix Sontag, so he's giving himself one more chance to try and see if he can perform a miracle and get that Williams through into Q3, but we'll wait and see as he now flicks off the pit limiter as he'll be preparing to start his final flying lap of Q2 now then. Out the pit lane he goes as he now makes his way towards farm, and then it will soon turn into village quite soon, as now he'll approach village now then. Through the left-hander he goes, as he now will be approaching the through Aintree now then, as he now makes his way down the Wellington Straight. Perrinen has come out onto the track, as has Chris Chatfield and as has Evan Byrne, but in terms of Chung, Patel, Carr, Wilson and Quarg, that's their session done with. So 11th to 15th are officially out, and the notable ones, both Lamborghinis and Amar Carr are.
Yeah, indeed. Very disappointing session for Lamborghini, considering the fact that they won the previous race, and yeah, disappointing for them, and even more disappointing for Amar Carr, who is down in 13th.
He's going to have it all to do tomorrow in the race. We know how good the Mercedes race pace is, and here we're hoping to see if he can use that to his effect. But again, it's been the same story we've been talking about every week, the inconsistency that Mercedes have in qualifying this season. And once again, it's really coming to haunt them, especially given that this is Carr's home race, not the place that he wanted that inconsistency to be a thing.
Yep, indeed, and you have his work cut out if he was to keep that championship lead.
Sontag now then makes his way through into the final few turns on the racetrack now then, as he now makes his way through the final corner and onto the pit straight to start his final flying lap and give himself one more chance, potentially get himself through into Q2. I don't know whether Chatfield and Byrne have given him enough time, because of course the pit exit is quite far away from where the start finish line is, as well Sontag's lap's going to get ruined by Rahul Patel, who is just getting out there to do some mileage. So Sontag is not going to be happy about that one, especially given that Williams will be having Lamborghini engines next season. That's not the best way to greet them, that's for sure.
Yep, indeed. I don't know what I was thinking about. Of course, not ideal, and yeah, pretty much he's out of it anyways.
Indeed, I'm wondering if Byrne and Chatfield had done enough to cross the line and start a lap. I'm not 100% sure. His car's just got out there just to get some mileage under his belt. And Chatfield and Perrinan did actually, not Byrne. I do apologise. But Perrinan and Chatfield have been able to. But I don't think there's any point really because Sontag has been held up as a result by her Rahul Patel. But I think they'll try and see if they can try and push it a little bit more on this lap as Sontag now then makes his way through into Beckett's now then. Now coming around Chapel, he will go before making his way down the hanger straight now then 1.2 seconds off of Willows in the middle sector, and so now as he makes his way up towards Stowe Corner now then through the long sweeping right-hander we go now then before making his way down towards the through Vale and then into the final two corners of Club. Through the right-hander we go, and now into the final corner will come Felix Sontag in the Williams as he now makes his way onto the pit straight and across the line he will go now then, and does not improve, so Sontag now officially out of qualifying and he stays in 16th position. Perrinan now then across the line he will go in the Renault and no improvement, stays in 9th. Chatfield across the line and he improves but remains in 10th, time in the last sector as a result, and that's pretty much that then really. So that's Q2 done with Willows top, Garber second, and Vaderi is surprising third in the Alfa Romeo, so we're getting his Alfa Romeo through into Q3 as the 6 drivers who have been eliminated are Loa Chung, Rahul Patel, Amar Kar, Amelia Wilson, Roman Quag, and Felix Sontag. So we're just going to take a brief pause for the moment whilst we get Q3 underway. But in the meantime, guys, let us know your predictions on who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. But safe to say, Ra, what a brilliant anthem for Dairy to get into Q3.
Yep, lap of his career pretty much. He really needs that just to save his OC career, his top class career pretty much.
Indeed so, and well, as you said, he's still the only driver this season to score who's yet to score a point in 2021, and he'll be looking to see if he can rectify that this week here at Silverstone. So I do apologise for the moment, guys, if I go a little bit silent, but I will be back with you in just a tick, so bear with. The stream is back up just as I'm still typing away with the tweet. So I think that's what I was on about there. But anyway, the tweet is about to be finished off, which it has now then. So anyway, let's get on the way then with the third part of qualifying then. So Ra, I have to ask you, who do you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix?
I'm going to go for Jake Galloway.
going to go with a Galloway pole. I'm going to go with Franco Gamba for pole. I'm going to play it safe on this one and say Gamba will get pole position here at Silverstone. But anyway, we are now in the garages getting ready for the final part of qualifying to see who will get pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix. And it'll be interesting to see where Verderi ends up in the Alfa Romeo after that strong showing that he was able to deliver in Q2. As now we wait to see who is going to get out on track first. It looks like Verderi might, unless somebody beats him to the punch. Let's see as the Alfa Romeo mechanics get to work on his car. As we wait to see if he goes out first, and he will do. So Verderi will be the first car to go out onto the racetrack for Q3 as he looks to try and put in a very good lap in the Alfa Romeo. As he'll be now making his way towards the pit exit now then, which he does now then, as he'll now flick off the pit limiter. So let's see what everybody else has put in the stream chat. As Panos has gone a bit bold and said Verderi for pole. He's betting his life savings on that, basically. Nguyen has said, Min has said Galloway pole. Dennis has said Roke pole. Zachary has said Willows for pole. Chris has said Gamba pole. And Von Chanek has said Chatfield for pole. So quite a diverse section there, Ra. I think it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to get pole.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, Krug did nearly get pole in Spain, so of course, Frederick could do this exact same thing.
Indeed so, and he'll need some kind of very good performance anyway, as you alluded to earlier, if he wants to save his top-class career, because so far it's really not gone according to plan for the Alfa Romeo driver. As mentioned, the only driver so far this season yet to score a point in 2021 as a result of both Sontag and Wilson scoring their first points of the season last time out at the Austrian Grand Prix. Currently 9 cars on track. There's still one more car yet to come out onto the track, which they have done now then. So there's now 10 cars out on the racetrack as Verderi now makes his way through Stowe Corner before making his way down towards Vale, and then the final 2 corners of Club. So through the left and then into the final 2 turns will come Andre Verderi in the Alfa Romeo. Into the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go as Verderi will start his first flying lap of Q3. And he started it now then as he now makes his way down towards the first 2 turns on the racetrack. Through turn 1 and then into turn 2 he goes as Berners just started his lap just behind him. And now through turn 3 will go the Italian as he flicks it in for the right-hander. And now into turn 4 he will go. In the car in through into there as he now makes his way towards turn 5 of entry and then down the Wellington straight he will go. Let's see what his first sector point is going to look like now then. And he does a 25.569 in the first sector. Let's see what everybody else does in that first sector. 25.432 for Byrne in the first sector, so as expected quicker than Verderi in the first sector. 25.314 for Roke in the first sector, so quicker than both of them in the first sector there, as they're the only 3 to have set something in the first sector so far. But now Willows has done a 25.538 in the first sector, so slightly quicker than Verderi, but slower than both Byrne and Roke at this point in time. As Verderi makes his way through into Maggett and then into Beckett. A 25.324 for Gamba in the first sector, only 100th slower than Roke there, as a 25.406 for Perinin, a 1 minute 1.321 for Verderi in the second sector, a 101.070 for Byrne in that middle sector now then, a 100.866 for Roke on that occasion through into the second sector. But now we look at Verderi now then, he's making his way through into Vale now then and into the final 2 corners of Club. And now through the second part of Club, down the Hamilton straight, and Verderi is now going to cross the line. And what is the benchmark time going to be? It's a 126.936. Here comes Evan Byrne in the Renault. Across the line he will go, and he goes obviously quicker by 0.4 of a second as expected. Roke across the line goes 2 tenths quicker on a 126.25 second. Here comes Joseph Wells, the man who topped Q2. Willows now then around the final corner in the special liveried McLaren. He comes down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and he goes only 4th there, so he lost quite a bit of time in that last sector because he was up on Verderi, but thanks to the close gap he was able to gain it. Gamba up on Roke in the middle sector. He wasn't up on him in the first sector, but now appears to be up on him in the middle sector. Can Gamba go to the top? Yes, he can, but only by 31,000 of a second. As we've got a yellow flag through into Beckett, and Perinin goes to the front, and it's Lopez. Lopez has gone for a spin at the exit of Beckett and has had to wait for everybody, but that's his lap down the drain.
Yeah, indeed, that is not what he needs, and yeah, really lost control on the curb, and yeah, not really a good lap, and not really a drift, but he's just trying to control it off road. But yeah, the curb just sent him up in the air a little bit.
And Lopez will have to try and go again if he wants that. And it has held up Galloway as a result of that. He had to lift off because of the mistake that Lopez had made. Chatfield in 6th. De Rosa goes into 5th meanwhile. Just thought I'd point that out. Galloway, let's see where he'll end up anyway. Even after that hold up, he's probably going to end up in 9th. But let's see how far away he's going to be compared to Joseph Willows, for example. Galloway around the final turn and onto the pit straight he will go. And Galloway is going to cross the line. And he goes into 9th, and he's 1.6 seconds off thanks to that lift he had to do. Lopez will slot in 10th thanks to that mistake, and he has to go through it all again. 10.7 seconds off of Garber as a result. But at the moment, Ra, it is a Red Bull 1-2 with Garber leading Roke at this point.
Yeah, then it's a runner 3 and 4 with Perrin in 3rd and Bird in 4th. So, pretty interesting there.
Indeed so, as Videri currently in 7th place ahead of Willows, who seemed to have dropped some pace to Videri in those final 2 sectors, because as we saw, he was up on him in the first sector, but then seemed to have lost a bit of time compared to Videri. Videri having some stronger 2 sectors there. But at the moment, Garber top with Roke in 2nd, Perrinen in 3rd, Burn in 4th. So far the 2 Renaults locking out the 2nd row of the grid at the moment. De Rosa in 5th, Chatfield 6th, Videri 7th, Willows 8th, Galloway, who got held up in 9th, and Lopez, thanks to that mistake, down in 10th. So I would expect better lap times to come for both Galloway and Lopez in the second runs that we're hoping to see quite soon. And Willows will be looking to see if he can improve on his time, because you wouldn't have expected that from Willows given the performance he showed in Q2 over a second off of Garber at this point in time. So maybe a better lap time to come from him in the McLaren. We'll have to wait and see on that. As the second stick down, and Lopez will be making his way back into the pits with those shot tyres thanks to that spin he made. We've seen quite a lot of mistakes today, right? It's fair to say. The driver's really pushing it around here.
Yeah, indeed. It does really make this profile pretty interesting. And of course, um, it's not what they want, but it is what it is.
Indeed so, as Ferrari will be getting both Galloway and Chatfield prepared for a second flying lap. As they're currently 6th, and of course Galloway down in 9th thanks to that hold up he had a little bit earlier on. But currently a Red Bull 1-2 with Garber at the top. Of course, let's not forget Garber took pole here back in 2019, of course. It was his first pole of 2019, his first ever pole position as well. Let's not forget in his career. And, well, he could, if he can hold this on, it could be a Red Bull front row lockout. We'll have to wait and see, as they're desperate to try and regain the lead in both championships so far, and especially with Carr down in 13th with a lot of work to do. And if Lopez isn't able to try and split them in any way, or maybe try and beat them, you could say that Red Bull's got a very good chance, providing they don't get the strategy muddled up, which has been a kind of Achilles tendon for Red Bull this season. They'll be hoping to basically regain both the lead and both championship leads in this race. But we'll have to wait and see. As Evan Byrne, meanwhile, in the Renault, is coming out on track, as he'll be preparing to start a second flying lap now then in the Renault, as he now makes his way in towards turn 3. And obviously, because of all the bad luck he's had so far this season, of course, he will be leaving Renault at the end of the season. He's made that absolutely clear. He is not putting Renault at all in the sign-up in any capacity whatsoever. And he will be leaving the team after the end of the season, after what has been a frustrating season for the Irishman. And Evan, of course, will be looking to see if he can go out on a bang with Renault before joining whatever team he joins next season, or whether or if he ends up at a team next season. It all really depends really on how the sign-ups really go, really, because it could really go any way, really. But Byrne, of course, looking to try and see if he can actually finish, because the last few races, Raw, he hasn't finished.
Yep, he had mechanical failures, or he would have incidents, and yeah, it's not been his way. He's just hoping for one clean race.
Indeed,
That's all he wants.
Indeed, as he's preparing now to start his second flying lap. All 10 cars have now come out onto the track, so Bernie's not going to have any issues when it comes to traffic, as he now makes his way down through into Vale and now into the final 2 corners of Club, and now making his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Evan Byrne in the Renault, as he now starts his lap and now coming towards the first 2 turns on the racetrack through the right and then into the left-hander we go now then, as he now makes his way into turn 3, which is through Farm, and now into turns 4 and 5, we will now go now then as he flicks it in through turn 4 and now into turn 5 of Aintree, and let's see what his first sector is like. Will he be able to improve on his current time, which is currently 2/10 off of Franco Gamba at the moment? Byrne's first sector, let's have a look. He is 200ths off on his personal best. He can still recover that in the second sector. It depends on how he can recover it, but only 200ths off his personal best in the first sector, as he's 1/10 off of Gamba in that first sector at the moment. So let's see what he can do in that in those last two sectors now. Then he now makes his way down towards Cop's Corner as he now flicks the car in through the right-hander using the curb on the inside there. Tidy through into there now then as he makes his way towards Maggots and Beckett's through the left, through the right, and now into Beckett's he goes now then. A little lift of acceleration before going down a couple of gears through into the second part, and now through into Chapel, and he's now 1/10 down on his personal best in the middle sector as a result. So unless he can find some time in the last sector, I think Byrne is not looking at an improvement here as he now makes his way down towards the final three corners on the racetrack now then as he flicks the car in for the left, and now into the final two turns he will go as Byrne now then around the final corner and onto the pit straight will go the Irishman, and Byrne is going to cross the line, no improvement, and he stays in fourth as Roke there looks like he had a bit of a moment there going through into Vale and was not improving anyway, so it didn't look like he was going to have an improvement as Roke is going to cross the line and he does not improve. He stays in second place as Chatfield crosses the line, no improvement, stays where he is. For Dairy, across the line he will go, he stays in seventh. Willows is on an improvement, across the line he will go, and he goes up into sixth. He gets above Chris Chatfield. Gamba not on an improvement at the moment, so isn't able to so far improve on his 1 minute 26.226 unless he can find something in this last sector as Gamba rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight he will go, and he does not improve. He stays where he is as DeRosa's up on his personal best. DeRosa coming down the pit straight and across the line he will go. What can he do? He goes up into fourth, so a good time there. Splits the two Renaults as Perinen doesn't improve. He stays in third. Lopez is expected up on his personal best after the mistake he made earlier. Where can he place his Mercedes? Lopez across the line he will go, and he goes only seventh with that time, so not really ideal for him. Galloway is expected also up on his personal best, but 7/10 down on Gamba in that middle sector. So let's see where he can place himself. He'll probably only end up in 9th if that is the case, or maybe still in 10th, and he stays in 10th as a result. So not the best lap there for Galloway after he got held up earlier on. But at the moment, Gamba's still at the top, but how many will get one more flying lap in before the end of the session? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so far looking good for the Red Bulls, Ra.
Yep, indeed, and yeah, there was a manages to split the Renaults. He's in fourth, of course. It wasn't McLaren 5 and 6, and so there was a split the Renaults. And Lopez managed to improve up to seventh, but yeah, it's not what Mercedes would want because they are fighting with Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. But yeah, it is what it is. They will hope for one more run. I don't know if Galloway will get one more run. I think he won't. So he's likely to stay 10th and will probably start 10th.
Indeed so, as the Ferrari mechanics wheel Chatfield back into the garage. We'll see if anybody else will get one more flying lap in before the session comes to a close. Chatfield getting wheeled back into the garage now then. We wait to see who is going to go out there next then. I think we will get a few going out on track, but I don't think everyone will get out onto the track. Maybe we will. I could be wrong because Galloway's only just coming up now towards the pit entrance, so maybe he could get out just in the nick of time, but we'll have to wait and see as DeRosa gets wheeled back into the garage in the McLaren. A pretty strong session for McLaren, it's fair to say. 4th and 6th at the moment. Whether they can stay there, they'll have to wait and see. Getting themselves mixed in with the Renaults, of course, and of course we know that this will be their last season with Renault engines before their partnership with BMW from next season. So Renault will be the only team on the grid that will have Renault engines in 2022, as everybody else will be having different engines outside of them. As Byrne will be getting one more flying lap in to see if he can try maybe upset the Red Bull party or maybe get a little bit higher up the grid, as he's currently in 5th position, currently split by DeRosa, as he now comes out of the pit lane now then, as Byrne now comes out of the track now then, as he'll now make his way towards turn number 3 now then, flicking it in right-hander as he now makes his way into turn 4, and then he'll soon flick the car in through turn 5 quite soon now then, as he flicks it in through the left-hander, and now coming down the Wellington straight as he'll be preparing to start his next lap. A few more cars have also gone out. Willows is out on track, as is Chris Chatfield in the Ferrari, so 3 cars currently out on the racetrack. They better need to get out before that 1 minute 26 threshold, otherwise they won't have another chance to do a lap. Videri has got out just in the nick of time. Anybody else going to do it before then? And the answer to that is, it looks like the answer is no. It looks like it's only going to be Byrne, Willows, Chatfield and Videri that are going to be doing one more flying lap. So only 4 cars will get one more flying lap in. Garber, Roque, Perrin, De Rosa, Lopez and Galloway opting not to do another lap. And the Red Bulls are hoping that they have done enough to lock out the front row. It seems that you could argue that Byrne and maybe even Chatfield and maybe even Willows to a certain, De Rosa to a certain degree could threaten them, but we'll have to wait and see as Byrne now then makes his way through into Stowe Corner. He now makes his way down towards the left-hander of Vale and now coming up towards the final 2 corners of Club. And now approaching the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will come Evan Byrne in the Renault. And so now making his way flat out through the right-hander. So through the right and then into the left-hander he goes as he starts his final flying lap. Through turn 3, which is farm, and then into turns 4 and 5 we will go on the track now then as he flicks the car in for the left-hander and using a bit of curb on the outside as he now makes his way through into turn 5. Down the Wellington Straight we will go as he now will be approaching the end of the first sector now then. Let's see what his first sector is like, and he's up on Gamba in the first sector by 200 seconds. And Byrne could throw in a little bit of surprise towards the end here. He's gone purple in the first sector, so Byrne on a good lap here. Let's see if he can keep it up in these remaining 2 sectors as the seconds tick by. 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out. That is the end of the session as Byrne now then comes down towards Copse Corner now then, nearly flat out through that right-hander now then as he now makes his way towards Maggots and Beckett's now then. Through the left and then through the right-hander he goes now then into Beckett through the left and now flicking it in for the right as he now makes his way towards Chapel. Let's see what his middle sector is like compared to Gamba, and he's now down on him in the second sector by 18 thousandths of a second, so it's going to be pretty close to see whether or not the Red Bulls will be on the front row. But Byrne can still recover it in the last sector and try and see if he can get that pole off of Gamba as he flicks it through into Stowe Corner. Now down towards Vale and Club he goes through the left and now through into the final 2 corners comes Evan Byrne. Where will he place his Renault now then? Through the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Evan Byrne. Can he snatch pole off of Franco Gamba across the line? And he can! He pulls it back and Byrne to the top of the timing sheet by 200ths of a second. What a lap from the Irishman there. Chris Chatfield now they were riding on board with in the Ferrari comes around the final turn and onto the pit straight he goes. Can Chatfield find any miracle? No, he can't. He does not improve. Willows is not on an improvement either. Across the line he will go and he does not improve. He stays where he is. Videri also not on an improvement either in the Alfa Romeo. He now runs the final turn and down the pit straight, and here comes Andre Videri. Across the line he will go and does not improve and stays where he is. So after all of that, right at the death there, Evan Byrne takes his second pole of the season. A week after he announced he was leaving Renault, he sticks his Renault on pole position, and we're going to allow you to see that amazing lap from the Irishman. And that is how Evan Byrne took pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix right at the death there. He was down in the middle sector, but managed to pull it back in that last sector to go 200s quicker than Garber and take his second pole of the season. It just seems like after his announcement that he was leaving Renault at the end of the season, after all the frustration that's happened, it just feels like he's pretty much been let free, really, and pretty much with nothing to lose, he sticks it on pole position here at Silverstone. But can he convert it into the win tomorrow? That's going to be the question. But here is your top 10 then for tomorrow. Evan Byrne on pole position from Franco Garber in second, George Roque in third, with Jesus Perrin in fourth, meaning the top four consists of Renaults and Red Bulls. Kirishima De Rosa in fifth, followed by Joseph Willows in sixth, the two McLarens locking out row three, with Franco Lopez in seventh, Chris Chatfield in eighth, Andre Vaderi a very impressive ninth, and Jake Galloway only managing 10th over a second off of Evan Byrne. But yeah, what an end to the qualifying session, Ra.
Great lap by Evan Byrne to take pole position away from the Red Bull, spoiling the Red Bull party pretty much, and great qualifying from McLaren, 5th and 6th. I would say I'm a bit disappointed by Ferrari, only 8th and 10th for them. Surprisingly, very disappointing for them, especially for Galloway as well, even behind Federi.
Yeah, indeed, and it'll be interesting to see if they can make it back through the field tomorrow. But anyway, that has been it from the qualifying session. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Been a very entertaining session nonetheless, and Byrne, surprisingly, getting pole right at the end. Of course, we're not done with live streams for today, because coming up in around 54 minutes' time, we have the Formula 2 race here at Silverstone, which sees Hento Sinonome, the Renault test driver, on pole position. Speaking of Renaults, he's on pole position with Hoang Min Nguyen alongside him in second. It'll be very interesting to see who wins that race in around 53 minutes time now. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, we don't do the commentary for the race tomorrow because we let George do that for the highlights. Of course, don't forget tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. BST, we of course have the second ever entrance series race from Silverstone as well. So do look forward to that. Will Sam Fact continue the race performance that he showed at Spielberg and get his second consecutive win, or will somebody else beat him? It will be interesting to see. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Ra, and we will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 52-lap British Grand Prix. Till then, take care. Don't forget about the sign-ups as well.
Goodbye.